let's see, maybe artists you've heard of, although some would be, more my generation than yours. But I've written for Joe Cocker and Tina Turner, the Spice Girls, Diana Ross, Shaka Khan, lots of pop bands in England. I've had some number ones with artists in England who are kind of like, there's one called Billy Piper, who is on my floor, I think, here somewhere, who is kind of like the UK's Britney Spears. And some jazz things around my wall, different jazz artists, Tom Scott. Again, I touched on this earlier. I really like moving around as a songwriter, trying to write, country. I've written for Winona Judd and people like that. And it's interesting to me to try to do that. One of the things that's hard right now for you guys, harder than it was for me when I was your age, is it's hard to get on these records as a songwriter because they're more team-oriented. Like if you look at a Beyonce record and things like that, you're looking at 7, 8, 9 songwriters, which is tough. When I started, you could kind of have a publisher. If you got a publisher, they would pitch your song to an artist who's looking to cut songs for the record. And hopefully you get on it. That's kind of the end of the story. And you make money from there and everything else involved. But now it's so competitive that most artists assemble a team. So for a few years in England, I was part of a team called Steelworks. And Steelworks at one point did the Spice Girls and a lot of acts like that were big in England and big in Europe. And there were minimum 5 people on every song, me being one, because it was a team effort. Part of the reason you see that on records is, number one, somebody's got a company usually. Beyonce probably has a publishing company where some of those writers are signed to her as writers. So she's going to go to her team first. Or a producer has a team, all the way back to people like Diddy. They've always had a team of people around them. So you're seeing those names on a record. And I would say if this becomes your career path, guys, don't let that discourage you. I coach writers like all over the place. A lot of them get down because they think, I can't crack into that. I can't get in one of these things. What you can do is create your own. And you can do that, this week at Ball State. I mean, if you've got people around you like working with, and at least one of them maybe is an artist, or you can pull in an artist to work with your team. That's how all these teams got started in the first place. The great producer names that you see, even Mark Ronson, people like that, I mean, they usually started as part of a team, or they assembled a team. But yeah, it's a bit different and a bit harder to get in those. But I would urge you to look around. Look around Muncie, look around your campus, Indianapolis, anywhere. And if you see some talent there, see if you can become part of it. See if whatever talent you can bring into it. Some of you guys are, as I understand it, into production. That's a huge one. If you look at an artist and go, hey, I've got a studio and I have some skill, come to my studio, let's do something together. Now you started a team. So those kind of ideas for you are really doable. And don't think, I just want to encourage you on this because I've seen it work a lot. Don't think about the normal rules like publishers, all this kind of thing. You can do an awful lot from where you are right now, building it yourself. It's been done many, many, many times. And creating a team of your own is pretty cool. And if it works, it's something that's fresh, you're something new. There have been artists that come out of Indiana, Mellencamp and people like that were, indigenous to Indiana basically, and spread out from there. So yeah, I mean, create a team. You guys are all talented. You're all taking music in all different ways. Work together a little bit and look for an artist among you that can be the voice of what you do. So I hope that answered the question. You mentioned records, so I went from like how those happen to how it's more common now, really.
Yeah, we're good.
What else, guys? Ask away.
So I often have time finishing songs. How would you go about finishing a song? Because I have so many loose ends, and I kind of don't know how to there's so many options. I don't really know how to like tie one down.
Yeah, that's a great question too. Yeah, because it happens to all of us. Sometimes you got to walk away from it, because you can endlessly tinker with stuff. Me too. And sometimes I like the idea of going, you know what? I took every skill set, every skill that I know, and I've thought about it, and I'm done. I'm going to write another one. I'll give you a technical way, Bud, that I really like, and I hope it's not sounding too technical or scholarly, because I don't mean it to. But if you break writing down into 4 stages, preparation, that's where you guys are looking for things to write about. To me, preparation means I go to bookstores, I go anywhere I can, looking for something that I can put on a list or record, and it's going to make my way into writing, right? Preparation. Incubation is number 2. You let your idea sit for a while. Let your subconscious play with you. Number 3, illumination. You start to write the idea. That's what I talked about a little bit earlier with one of you folks that's a lyricist. I said, if it's in your head, start to throw all that color and detail on the paper before you become a lyricist. Just throw it on there and see what you've got. And don't worry about rhyming and how clever it is or anything else. Just, is it real? And talk it out. Does it sound real to you? Those are all really good things that every pro writer I know does. Every lyricist especially talks things out. So those 3 points, the last one of them being verification, which is just, I think maybe what you're talking about a little, that's the editor in you. The editor and the critic that goes, is this any good? Am I done? What am I doing here? My point is, if you think about these 4, every once in a while, stop what you're doing as a writer and go, why am I having trouble here if I'm having trouble? Did I prepare to find a good idea? Did I let it sit around so that maybe it's the best idea it could be? Am I writing real stuff in the lyric? Is it real? And do I like it? And number 4 is the big. Number 4 is, am I judging it too soon? Am I editing and being a critic before I have enough to even edit? And a lot of times that'll keep all of us as writers just going in a circle. The editor just goes, I don't know. I don't know if it's any good. Do you think it's any good? And at some point you have to kick the editor's ass, basically. You have to just go, enough. But I'm waiting until the end to use an editor. Then I'm going to sit down for a limited amount of time and I'm going to go, well, I gave this idea my best shot. One other thing you can do that I like doing too is play it for somebody else. If you're a lyricist, it's even different. I mean, like with what you're doing, I would give that to somebody that you trust and have them go away and come back and tell you what it's about. Like if you gave me the lyric to Dark, you would hope that I can come back and go, wow, this is your life, right? This is tough. This is stuff you've really been through. This is heavy. This is whatever it is. But it's clear to me that this is your life. That's a good test. If somebody, if you play a song for somebody, a melody for somebody, and they like it or they seem to get it, maybe you're done. Maybe you're done. I guess my long-winded point again is don't think too hard after a point, because there are endless options. At some point you have to trust your instinct as a songwriter and trust the fact you're, wherever you are in this journey, that you're learning things and you apply them. And at some point you go, well, maybe I could write this better in a year, but this is what it is right now. And you move on, write another one. I would definitely urge all of you guys not to get stuck on songs, because there's probably a better idea out there. If you find yourself stuck, move on. Try something else for a while. Good question.
All right, well, let's take 10-minute break.